Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you haven't been here before, really help me out and hit the subscribe button. Anyway, today's video, we're still going through Lord of the Rings and I've got a confession to make. When this set was first announced, I wasn't that excited. I wasn't really that convinced it was going to be a good set. And yeah, I think I've having changed my opinion on this now. The more I'm delving into it and looking at some of the legendary creatures that come out, the more excited I'm getting about some of them. And today's one is absolutely no exception to this rule. And as you know, it is Shelob, Dread Weaver. 3 and a black for a 3/3 legendary creature spider demon. Has an ability that whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, exile it. Okay. That stops a lot of the reanimation things I've been running into recently. So, okay, we'll go with that. And then 2 in a black, you get to put a creature exiled with Shelob into the owner's graveyard. You get to put 2+1/+1 counters on Shelob and then draw a card. I'm happy with this so far. The last ability I'm even more happy with. X 1 and a black, put target creature card from mana value X or exiled with Shelob onto the battlefield tapped under your control. Okay then, so if I can kill the creatures that are in play, I get to exile them. Doesn't seem to be any way of stopping that from what I can see. And then I get to pay their mana value plus a black and something else to put them back into control on my side of the board. And if it really isn't working out, I get to just put them back in their graveyard and I get to make Shelob bigger and draw a card. Right then, sign me up. Here we go. As usual, for one of my deck techs, let's start with the mana base. I'm not doing anything particularly fancy here. Obviously, Shelob is mono black, therefore we've got a mono black mana base with a couple of extra bits. So Cabal Coffers, Cabal Strongholder here. We've also got Nykthos here. Got a few black permanents that come into play and stay in play, so you know, probably get some mana off this eventually. We have got Field of the Dead in here because we do have just about enough lands to trigger it from my count up. We do have Barad-dûr in here as well. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary land. Tap, add a black, or XX black tap, get to a mass orcs, but only if a creature died this turn. And since we are aiming to kill creatures as much as possible with this deck, got some spare mana left at the end. Well, 3 mana left at the end of the turn. We can always amass 1 and just keep doing that and building up a big orc army. I don't think there's anything else particularly interesting in here. As you see, there's a whole load of swamps. Temple of the False God, and then Urborg, Tomb of the Agramoth, because if I'm playing this one and this one, you might as well have that in as well, just to make sure that they also count as swamps when you get there. I have gone a little bit harder on the usual amount of artifact ramps. So Mox Tantalite, you're used to seeing in my videos by now, along with Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Charcoal Diamond. They're the cheap options. And then I've also got Mana Crypt and Mana Vault in here because of the X value over here. I want to make sure I can hit this as much as possible, especially when we get some of the bigger creatures taken care of. So yeah, if you're trying to build this on a budget, drop this. Play something else along the 2-drop line. So you could play Thought Vessel, for example. That would be a creature card you could put in. You just want to make sure you're ramping and hitting your ramp. I've gone this way because I think it might be better. But what I want to be doing is make sure I'm killing creatures. So I think from what I can work out, I have most of the kill spells that have been printed for quite a few years now in this deck. So here we go, and I'll point out some of the more interesting cards we go along. So a lot of these cards you'll recognise from standard. So Bilious Skull Dweller, I'm just putting in here just so you know. I've got a few Death Touch creatures. Death Touch creatures in the deck as well, just to help out to make sure you know they can block. We get to do the Shelob trick with them. So yeah, bear in mind. So we've got this one to start with. Then I've got Cut Down, Defile, which I will point out is from Modern Horizons. Yep. Target creature gets -1/-1 until the end of turn for each swamp you control. As long as it has got protection from black, you're fine. And it's actually quite a nice removal spell at 1 mana at instant speed. So, you know, we're not going to complain. Fatal Pushes here. Foulmere Knights comes with the pay 3, do the adventure, lose a life, draw a card, or you just get another Death Toucher for 1 mana, so hence why it's here. Same with Ruthless Ripper. I don't intend doing the morph costs. I'm more likely just to play it for 1 mana, just so I've got a nice blocker in play. Same with Typhoid Rats. Vampire of the Dire Moon is quite nice. It does give us a little bit of life as well, which could be useful. I have got Vampiric Tutor in here. It's another card you can drop off if you don't want to go too far down your budget with this deck. But it's here because there are some things I want to get later in the game that will help us win if Shelob hasn't produced us enough creatures. So, Amulet of Vigor I have added to this deck. I really don't... If I'm paying, what, 7, 8 mana to get a creature back from a graveyard, onto the battlefield... or from the exile zone, I should say. I don't want it to be coming into play tapped. I want it to be coming into play untapped. So I've got it there, sitting there as a blocker, ready to save me if I need it to. Notice, you can do this at any time with Shelob, by the way. I should have said that at the start. It's not a sorcery speed or renewal turn speed. It's like, pay the mana, you get the creature there, and then it just comes into play tapped. Amulet of Vigor gets you around that little restriction. Elixir of Immortality's here, just so we can shuffle everything back in. Vault, Soul Ring, talked about them. Stage 2, or Mana Value 2. Cast Down, Go for the Throat. You've seen all these recently. Heartless Act, Infernal Grasp. Liliana's Triumphs, one you may not have seen, but it means everyone sacrifices a creature, hence why it's here. Apart from yourself, of course. Tainted Adversary gives us a nice way of building up some swamps when we have swamps. Zombies, I'm really tongue-tied today, sorry. When you pay the cost 1 or more times, put that many +1/+1 cancel on the adversary, and then create twice that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with decay. So we get a one-shot army off it, but we have a big death toucher for 2 mana. It's pretty good. Terror, the traditional one. You have to have Terror in if you're playing mono black in my mind. Ultimate Price, Gifted Aetherborn does some lifelink and death touching for us. And then the boots are here, the Swift Foot boots, just so we can protect Shelob, because there's no built-in real protection on Shelob. So, yeah, boots are here. 3 drops. Soul Shatter, another way of getting everyone to sacrifice the highest value creature or planeswalker they've got, which is quite nice. Hero's Downfall, just a small targeted removal of something really annoying you. Same with Murderous Rider, but this one's quite nice because when the Murderous Rider side dies, you get to put it on the bottom of its library, so, you know. Gets you a little, maybe saves you a little bit from milling. Probably not, but it's fun. Poison the Cup. We will foretell this and leave it sitting there until we need it to go off and kill something, because we do want the scry value. Vampire Nighthawk is also here. Flying Death Touch Lifelink. You've seen it all before. Bone Picker. Going back to Amaket. Because we will be killing creatures quite regularly, this should be able to be cast for 1 black mana at any stage of the game with a bit of luck. Cryptghast helps us do the extort value, makes our swamps tap for more, and yeah, basically that's all it does, but that's useful. Bake in the Pie gives us a food, destroys a creature. Body Launderer. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, Body Launderer connives. So, you know, they're non-tokens when they come back into play under your control, so even if they die again, you get to do a bit of conniving, or if some of your rats or the smaller creatures die, you get to connive quite a lot. It's useful. Damnation's here, just to draw the control the board. Deadly Derision gets a treasure token when we cast it to blow up a creature. Again, these are the higher, more expensive targeted removal. Drag to the Undone City, just the devotion thing should mean we're paying this for 2 mana most of the time, just so we're clear. Gonti's here, just so we can nick something if we need to. Invasion of Innistrad, just to deal with anything that's got toughness equal to 13 or less. And when you get to transform into the Deluge of the Dead, it's not too bad getting the zombie tokens, and exiling people's stuff, and just going with it from there. So it's all good fun. Notice, I will point out, this has got, you can't, if you exile a creature, because someone might know this is going to come up some stage. If you exile a creature card with a Deluge of the Dead, you can't use Shelob to bring it back, because you have to exile it with Shelob. Okay, just so we're clear. Right, No Mercy. I completely forgot this had come back round in Dominaria Remastered, and I'm very glad it did, because in this deck it's really nice. Whenever a creature deals damage to you, destroy it. This in play, with Shelob in play, and hopefully Shelob's got the boots on it or something, literally means your opponents won't attack you. They won't, because they don't want to have their creatures destroyed by dealing damage to you, and they don't want you to have the ability to bring Shelob in and bring all those creatures back that dealt you damage and smack them in their own faces. So bear it in mind. One ring to rule them all. We'll have a little bit of ring tempting, and then milling some cards. Destroy all non-legendary creatures, that's fine. Another way of wiping the board out. And then each opponent loses 1 life for each creature card in that player's graveyard. Now, there won't be many, because if Shelob's in play when the 3rd one goes off, it will just exile everything. But if it isn't, it's a nice way of getting some life loss onto your opponents. Gone a bit traditional with Pestilence, I have to say. Another way of actually, if you're ahead slightly on life, you can actually win the game with this by just pumping all the black mana you want to into Pestilence and pinging everyone to death. But bear in mind, you've got to have creatures in play for it to stay in play. Keep it there. Death Pits of Wrath. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, destroy it. It can't be generated. Nice little old school combo with Pestilence, which I'm sure some people will remember from back in the days of Standard, many years ago. Dictator of Oribos is here just so we've got some way of control. When our creatures die, we get some benefit from them dying. Junie, just so we can get non-target creatures back from our graveyard into play if we need to, or if someone's on 2 life, we can kill them off when it dies. Shadow Dread, the new version from March of the Machine, is also here because each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker, and then we get to flip it and do all sorts of fun stuff when we do that. So hence why it's here. The Witch King of Agamar also makes an appearance. So whenever 1 or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that damaged you this turn, and you get a bit of tempting again. And you can discard a card, make it indestructible. Does end up tapped, but save your Witch King. But kill your creatures off, another way of doing it. Corrupt for a little bit of life gain. Grave Titan, because it's a mono black deck, and why wouldn't you play Grave Titan? Noxious Gearhulk, another way of destroying something that doesn't cost you a creature. Professor Onyx, because we've got 21 creatures and 41 other spells, so might as well have this in here. We've got quite a few instances of sorceries between all the removal spells as well, so it seemed like a reasonable idea to have the Professor appear, or Liliana in teaching form if you prefer. Each opponent then sacrifices a creature with the greatest power amongst creatures that player controls for the -3 ability. Lovely little thing, thank you very much. Right. Teslymok, Primal Death. How many people actually remember this from the wonderful world of Ixalan? I'd forgotten about it. And I just happened to do a search on Death Touch creatures, and I forgot this had Death Touch. But the ability in this deck is amazing. Pay a black, reveal Teslymok from your hand, put a prey counter on target creature. You can only do it during our turn, but you can put prey counters on everything that hasn't got hexproof, shroud, etc. And then next turn you can go, right, I'll play Teslymok now. Oh, I'm going to destroy all creatures that I just put counters on last turn. Have fun. Bye. Fantastic. In this deck, really nice way of going, right, I need lots of creatures exiled. Let's do it this way. So, it kind of works. Shadow of the Enemies here. We get to exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. You can cast spells from among those cards as long as they remain exiled. A mana of any type can be spent to cast them. Nice way of emptying someone's graveyard out and going and getting things from Lord of the Rings. Quite impressed with that card. Blood Money just blows the board up, and then we get a load of treasure tokens. If we can blow the board up with Shelob in play, next turn gets very, very good because all those creatures get exiled, and we have all that nice treasure, hopefully, to use to recast them all from the exile zone. Boneyard Parley, just exile some cards where Shelob hasn't exiled them, and we get to put them into the battlefield under your control, and the rest go in their graveyard. So that's nice. And it's from all graveyards, so you can pick the graveyards. Yeah, I've got the other version of Sheldred here. I had a card slot left. Couldn't think of anything better. I'm sure there is, but yeah. Sheldred, sacrifice creatures. Okay, we'll exile them. All good. Last few cards. Pestilence Demon is just a flying version of Pestilence, as you can probably guess by the name, hence why it's here. Plague Wind blows everything else up that doesn't belong to us, which is nice, because if we've got that much mana to cast Plague Wind, we might have some more mana left over to get some of those creatures straight back out with Shelob. Portals, Phyrexia, make sure we get cards from the graveyards into play, and each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. And finally, one of the things that Vampiric Tutor will probably go and find at some stage when we get a stupid amount of mana in play is the Torment of Hailfire. Wouldn't be a black deck without playing Torment of Hailfire at the end as a big win condition. But that's it. That's my take on Shelob. I'm quite impressed with it as a commander, to be fair. hopefully you've enjoyed this take on it. I know there are different versions floating around, but I was trying to go down the removal float. So I hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you've hit the subscribe button. I really hope now you're going to hit the like button. And at the end of the video, leave me a comment. Well, it is the end of the video now. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you do hit the dislike button, can you please, please, please leave me a comment as to why you didn't like the video? I understand people don't like my videos, I get that, but I'd really like to know why at some stage, so please leave me a comment if you didn't like it. But anyway, thanks for getting this far down. I'll be back tomorrow with some more Lord of the Rings stuff, so I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, thanks for watching, bye.